Chris Jurgensen. So I wanted to do a follow-up lesson on that other lesson I did on playing outside. Reason is because I got a lot of sort of specific questions about, scale diagrams and what those scales actually were. So I decided I'd just go a little bit deeper into the whole subject. But anyways, so for me, because I came from a rock background, rock and blues mostly, I'm so familiar with the pentatonic scale, especially the minor pentatonic scale, is that whenever I play something like this, I make like that minor pentatonic scale the home base, because I can jump out and jump back in really easy, and I don't want to be changing positions a lot because I want to mix it up as best as I can. So, the reason you want to do that when you have a little bit of space, and if you recall what I did in this lesson is that I basically, used an E sort of jam, right? And so if you have time and space to be able to, experiment and have fun, you want to create a contrast, or else it gets old quick. And so some of the more, I don't know, what's the right word, exotic kind of scales, just make a little contrast. It makes the listener's ears wake up. And so that's what this lesson is about. I'm going to get into a little bit more detail. I'm just going to take one example here. And this is an E blues scale, right? This isn't the one that you always use, but it's a good one. And when you look at the scale, you want to see what the extensions are. So look at that. This scale, if you play a blues scale over an E7 chord, it gives you the the root, the flat third, the fourth, the flat fifth, which is that sort of blue note, the natural fifth, and the flat seven. And so I'm going to, for this lesson's sake, I'm going to use this as the base of what I'm going to start and jump out of. And so my first suggestion is that you just sort of jam on this scale until it becomes very natural for you. Staying in that position, I'm going to jump to, and I'm sort of going the route of like inside to outside here. This is not really so far outside, but it's the Lydian dominant scale. And I'm lining it up completely, right? At the same fret. The same place I would play that minor pentatonic scale, I'm going to play this Lydian dominant scale. It allows me to jump back and forth. Some things you want to look at are the similarities, right? So look at this. These top two notes are the same as the top two notes in this Lydian dominant scale. And look at this. The top two notes on the second string are also in that Lydian dominant scale. So there's a lot of similarities, and it makes it easy to jump in and out between these two scales. So the minor pentatonic scale is a great springboard into this Lydian dominant scale. If you look at the extensions you get, or the chord tones you get, however you want to think about it, it's got a root, a second, a major third, the sharp four, which is like that note that we use in the blues scale, right? The fifth, it's got a sixth in there, which is a great note for blues, and the flat seven. So this is another great scale to jump in and out. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of mix these up, okay? noticed I played a sort of interesting sounding arpeggio, which is a good representative of the sound of melodic minor. I have it circled up there in red for you, but it's a major D major 7 sharp 5 arpeggio. So that's a great sound that you want to get into your playing if you like this kind of sound. Okay, so next up we'll be talking about the altered mode. All right, so now we're talking altered. Altered is more of an outside sound. If you look at the intervals, what you're getting here is a root, a flat 9, a sharp 9, a major 3rd, a flat 5th, a sharp 5th, and a flat 7. So as it says up there, E7 altered is the chord sound that you get with this scale. Since we're not playing over harmony, we're just playing over a bass line, basically, you can take liberties and do this kind of thing. What would an E7 altered chord be? It's like an E7 with, 2 of the 4 alterations, probably. So, E7 sharp 9, sharp 5, or an E7 flat 5, flat 9, or even sometimes you even see them with both a flat 9 and a sharp 9. Could be any of these things. So that's sort of a way to sort of stretch a little bit when you play this kind of thing. So check it out. One thing that I just did that might be of interest. Remember, I was saying that the melodic minor sound is sort of based off of that major 7 sharp 5 sound. But we did remember this one when we played E Lydian dominant. Well, altered is also, in this case, an E altered scale is F melodic minor. E Lydian dominant is B melodic minor. But there's the same major 7 sharp 5 arpeggio in this too. In this case, it's going to be a G sharp major 7 sharp 5, right? I went like this. Right? You can see it right there. So I combined them both. I did the D major 7 sharp 5 from Lydian dominant, and I did the G sharp major 7 sharp 5 from E altered. So this is what I did. I went. Then I bent it up to the major 3rd of the chord. Right? So on to the next one, which is going to be the half-whole diminished scale. All right, so now we're talking half-whole diminished. There it is. Look at the intervals that we get. It's a root, a flat 9, a sharp 9, a major 3rd, a sharp 11, a perfect 5th, a 6th, and a flat 7. So if you're thinking chord sounds, it's like a 13, dominant 13 chord with a sharp 9 and a flat 9, or, a 13 with a sharp 11 or something in that, to that nature. Again, keep in mind that some of those intervals in this look a lot like the blues scale as well. So it's a great way to jump in and out of sort of a familiar sound with a less familiar sound. Alright, so in regards to the half-whole diminished, my finger doesn't want to go the right way, scale, you know, it's what we call a symmetrical scale, which means that all the intervals are the same. It's just a half-whole step scale. So it means that a lot of stuff can be repeated in sort of a pattern, and you can use that to your advantage, you know. So I played a lick like this. First I opened up with this one. Right? That's one example. Another good example is this. I started right here and played, well actually, I started sort of up here. And I played a lick that went like this. And it takes you right back to a blues scale, because it looks a lot like a blues scale. So that's how I sort of mix that up a little bit. So give that a shot. Next, we're going to be on to my newfound joy of guitar life is the Barry Harris's diminished sixth scale, and I'll explain that in a second. So the hardest thing to explain is really this Barry Harris's thing. So I can't do it 1,000 times, or else, you know, I'm going to be here for 6 months, and this video is going to take, you know, an hour to watch. I don't want to do that. So you have to just watch my other videos on it, okay? I'm sorry, but and it doesn't have to be mine. There's other videos that are as good or better than mine, so check them out. But basically, Barry Harris has this system, which I'm not going to really explain right now. Go back and check it out. But anyways, what happens here is that basically, for all intents and purposes for what we're about to do, we're going to play 8 arpeggios. And they're all based around B minor 6 and A sharp diminished. And so what's going to happen is that you got to remember, with any kind of diminished chord or arpeggio, it can be 4 of them. So that A sharp diminished is really A sharp, C sharp, E diminished, and G diminished. It's all those things. And the B minor 6, we're just going to play 4 inversions of a B minor 6 arpeggio. And that's all we're going to do. Maybe I should play it now just so you can see. I'm going to go down in that order. Okay, so again, B minor 6, E diminished. Next is also B minor 6 again, C minor, C diminished, and then B B minor 6. And when you look at that over at what's going on with an E chord, this B minor 6 gives you the sound of an E9 chord. It's just the fifth, the seventh, the ninth, and the third of an E9 chord when you play this. The A diminished is going to give you, basically, they're all the same arpeggio, really, but it's going to give you the sound of an E13 with a sharp 9 and a sharp 11, which makes sense, right? Because remember, we played with that half-whole diminished scale, and that's sort of the sound that it gave us, so that's what's going to happen with this. Okay, so I'm going to do the demo here.